Hey, shalom. Welcome back, everybody. So glad to have you here with us as we continue working through the book of Exodus. Today we will be continuing in chapter 29, and this lesson will cover verse 31 and probably verse 32. Let's see how it goes. Adonai, Adonai, ma'adir shimcha, ken hi ratzon ki, b'layla hazot אנחנו יכולים ללמוד טוב את דבריך, כי אנחנו רוצים ללמוד טוב, תיתן לנו את לקח טוב ממך. לא לי ולך יחיה כל הכבוד. All right, so here we are with our directed Hebrew immersion or listen and learn series for Exodus chapter 29 verse 31. And I will just scan it first. Maybe I'll scan it by canting. ואת אל המילואים tikach uvishalta את בשרו b'makom kadosh. A little bit weird. I think something happened in the formatting. This miracha. I'm sorry if you're watching. You obviously don't have to look if you're just listening. Under the aleph and the et, it should be under the tav and the uvishalta. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure why it moved in formatting, but anyway. Okay, so let's do piece by piece now. So if you recall, verse 30, just as a quick review, we said 7 days you shall dress them, the Kohen shall dress them instead of him from his sons, whom shall enter unto the tent of meeting to minister in the sanctuary. Okay, so now we have ve'et and something, el hamilu'im. Now we actually have some special emphasis happening here. I'm probably not going to mark it right now. Usually I would use magenta, but if you recall, the normal word order is verb followed by subject, and then we have the definite direct object in there usually somewhere, or the object. When you move the object before the verb, which is happening here, the verb is the last word on the first line, tikach, tikach, then it's expressing emphasis, okay? So, I'm trying to get my laser pointer back. Where are you? Ve'et, and, or now, el hamilu'im. So, el, aleph, lamed, pardon me, I'm tired. Aleph, yod, lamed is usually ayil in the abstract form, and that means a ram. And ayil is a ram. And ale is the construct form, as I have it marked with our kind of bluish background. And we have a construct chain shown by the aqua box. So ale is ram of hamilu'im, the milu'im. The verbal root being mem lamed aleph, mile, which is to fill up, to fill up. This being the same word that's used when Yeshua says in Matthew, in Besorat Matityahu, do not think that I have come to tear down the law or the prophets, the Torah or the Nevi'im. I have not come to tear down, but to, and it uses this verb here, mile, to fill up. To fill up. Oftentimes translated as fulfill, but I'm not a big fan of translating it that way because well, for one, we're kind of removing the underlying Hebraic thought here. And in Matthew, it's pretty much understood was written originally in Hebrew, and then we got the Greek later, as opposed to other books in the apostolic writings, which many were written in Greek first, in Jewish Greek. But in this case, there's witnesses. Eusebius thought so, and Jerome claims he saw the scroll of Matthew, which everyone seemed to agree was written before the Greek was written. So if you say fulfilled, there's kind of a certain bias here. It makes it sound like it doesn't need to be done anymore, right? Oh, it's fulfilled, which of course is kind of silly. Imagine you're speeding and the police officer pulls you over, or the MDA for the Filipinos, and says, "Hey, you're driving too fast." And you say, "No, no, no, Messiah fulfilled the law." You could say fulfilled, but you need to understand what fulfilled means, right? It's talking about prophecies fulfilled, not that the law was never something that was waiting to be fulfilled. To say that he's fulfilled, it also means that he was able to live by it perfectly, right? So, he's a good model for us to follow. Anyway, so el hamilu'im, because it's construct, we say the ram of the filling up. And you remember this was the filling of hands, which is part of the smicha, the ordination procedure. Tikach, tikach. And sorry for the auditory learners, but if you're visual, you see I have a little lamed, a little baby lamed floating up in the air and showing that it's related to the dot that is inside of the kuf. That's because that dot, the strong dagesh, it's there because of this lamed. So the verb is lakach, to take. So til kach became tik kach. So you shall take. Okay. So again, the emphasis. Ve'et el hamilu'im. Now the ram of the filling up of hands. Tikach. You shall take. It's an imperfect verb, so we will render it like that. It's not you are taking. That wouldn't make sense. So you shall take. Uvishalta. Uvishalta. And we have a piel verb, bishel. Beit, sheen, lamed. Technically, beit, sheen, lamed, because a strong dagesh means there are two of those consonants there. Now, bishel means to boil, to boil. Okay. Later on, it can mean generally to cook in general, but like in modern Hebrew dialect, it can just be to cook. But in Torah, this is usually boil. Uvishalta, and you shall boil et aleph tav besar o. So basar beit sin resh means meat or flesh, and it's basar. But when you put a suffix on the end, that suffix causes the accent to move to the end, right? So it was basar, and we had a comets under the bait, basar. But many, 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 many nouns that have a comets under their first syllable, if you put a suffix at the end of the word or it becomes part of a construct chain, something so that the accent is moving away, that comets changes into a vocal schwa, just into a little eh. By the way, if you understand this, great. If not, don't worry about it. No sweat. This doesn't really affect meaning. It will help some people. Okay. I want something to be there for everybody. Besar, the flesh of him, meaning the ayil. I'm saying ayil, not how it's written, because ayil is the abstract form. So uvishalta, and shall boil you. Oops, I thought I colorized that as a kind of a neon. Ooh, that should have been like a neon looking color there. Sorry about that, because this is evolve conversive. If you're just listening, no harm, no foul. And you shall boil et besaro. By the way, notice it didn't say et besaro. Tiv shall, right? Tiv shol. If it said that, then we'd have special emphasis on the et, just like we had in the above part, the ve'et el hamilu'im. But this one's following the normal order. We've got our verb, bishel, et, followed by the object, besaro. And you shall boil its flesh, bemakom kadosh. Be in makom, a place. Kadosh, that's the adjective. What kind of place? A holy one. Kadosh. Kuf dalet shin. All right. Let's read through it one more time. Et el hamilu'im. Now, the ram of the filling up tikach, you shall take, uvishalta, and shall boil you, et besar o, the flesh of it, bemakom kadosh, in a holy place. All right, let's do the next verse. Okay, next one we may go a bit speedier on, all right? Because it looks longer and we've already used 10 and a half minutes. Oops. All right, so let me just read through this one. I'll go ahead and cant it. Some of you like that. Ve'achal Aharon uvanaiv et basar ha'ayil et halechem asher ba'asal petach ohel moed. All right. Ve'achal Aharon. Then akhal, well, akhal, aleph, kaf, lamed, would just mean ate, but we do have a vav conversive, so then will eat. Okay, and what's the subject of this verb? Aharon, aleph, hey, resh, nun, Aharon, Aaron. The achal, Aharon. Then Aaron will eat. Not just Aaron, but uvanaiv, u, and the banim of Iv, the sons of him. So Aharon uvanaiv is the subject. Then Aaron and his sons will eat et, we don't translate, bisar ha'ayil. So here again, basar has become bisar because the accent's moving. Ha'ayil. So because the last word's definite, the first word we will try to say the in front of it in English. So ve'achal Aharon uvanaiv, then Aaron and his sons will eat at the basar, the flesh, the meat of the ayil, ram. Ve'et, and hal lechem, the lechem, lamed chet mem, the bread. Asher, aleph shin resh, which basal. So bait is in, is the, sal, samech lamed, means a basket. So what they mean by that is the bread that's left in the basket is what was left over from after the sacrifice. So b, in, the, or as, the, sal, samech lamed, basket. Petach, ohel, mo'ed. So petach is entrance or portal of, ohel, tent of, mo'ed, of meeting. And Rashi commented this was outside of the tent proper where this procedure is happening. So by the Petach Ohel Moed, in their case, it's just right outside the tent. All right, I'm going to read through again. This time try to translate before I do. The Achal Aharon. Then Aaron ate. Then Aaron, I should keep going, uvanaiv and his sons ate. Et besar ha'ayil, the flesh of the ram. So rather than they shall eat. Ve'et halechem, and the bread, asher, which, bas sal, b, is in us, the sal, basket. Petach ohel moed, entrance of tent of meeting. Okay, one more time through, just regular reading. Do your best to understand. Ve'achal Aharon uvanaiv et basar ha'ayil ואת הלחם אשר בסל פתח אוהל מועד. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. You have a great day. Hope everybody enjoyed the inauguration. Found that very stimulating. Shalom, shalom.